All right, so it's 7 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us. I know we'll have some more people joining us as we keep going. We're going to have this posted on our YouTube channel so that if anybody wants to watch it later, they can. Well, our plan is also to do this every third Thursday of the month. I think it'll help to just connect new people in the space who are wanting to get involved with technology, as well as maybe offer up any information that might be important for any of you. So, all right. So we'll go ahead and get started. Again, thank you all for joining. You can type questions using the link above, or you can also type questions there in Twitch. We have a couple people who are joining us via our Meet link as well as here on Twitch. So we've gone ahead and muted everybody in Meet just so that we can go over this information. Our plan is really to cover a wide variety of information on getting into tech um, right now, over the next 30 to 45 minutes, then leaving time for question and answers. Everybody's different. So I think with that in mind, we want to make sure that we have time to answer your questions, to point you in the right direction. But you'll see based on the agenda that we have for today that we'll be going over a little bit of who we are, who Techlahoma is, if you're new to Techlahoma, your future in technology, tips, as well as the tools that we offer with Techlahoma. And then also talk to you a little bit about some of the websites that you have access to. So I've noticed that the slides aren't moving on Twitch. It might be a delay, but just in case, just wanted to mention that. So if you're able to hear us, thank you, Kimberly and Chris, for putting those links in there for us. I'm Kristin Garcia, so I'm the one on the left. I'm a Techlahoma board member and a user group chair. Therefore, I work with a lot of the different user groups of Techlahoma. I'm a part of the Free Code Camp Norman community, and I work at the OU Tom Love Innovation Hub. So I'll let Diana introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Diana Varnes. I'm also a Techlahoma board member. I'm a user group chair for Free Code Camp Tulsa, Tulsa Web Devs, Code for Tulsa. I'm also on the advisory board for Oklahoma Women in Technology, and I am the programs lead for the OU Tom Love Innovation Hub in Norman, although I work in Tulsa.
Right. And then helping us with our stream today, we also have a member of our Free Code Camp Oklahoma City group. We have Chris, who's helping us. Chris, I've muted you on on our Meet just because you have one of those awesome keyboards that makes a lot of noise. So, which I know that's always a fun part of this community. So, when it comes to Techlahoma, our mission is to advance Oklahoma's grassroots technology community, which includes all of you. So, I would love to see in either the chat or in the questions, if you're currently a member of Techlahoma, let us know. If Techlahoma is completely foreign to you and you're new to this, we would love to know. Also, if you are an employer of people within the tech community, let us know too, because I know we have a lot of members who are also part of businesses. So just put in the chat so that we know who is a part of our community that's here. The reason I ask people to talk about, what you do, what your background is because the nice thing about Techlahoma is that we cover all sorts of levels of tech interests. Whether you're just learning how to get into coding, which most of you probably are, and that's why you've decided to join us today, or you've been a part of the community for a while, and you're actually part of our community that is teaching other people. I know we have Kimberly on our Twitch stream. She's been one of our board members as well as probably like number one volunteer and helping with workshops and programming. We also have a lot of local businesses HR recruiters, people within the IT community that are a part of Techlahoma. So we want to kick off with that to let you guys know that this is a community for all people. With that being said, because we're a community of so many different people, I do want to start off with the fact that we do have a Techlahoma Code of Conduct. This is important because when it comes to working with so many people from so many backgrounds, so much experience, we want to make sure that everyone's doing that in a respectful manner. So that is very much a priority for Techlahoma. And as if you're looking at the Twitch stream, you can see, we are a nonprofit organization and a foundation that is working throughout the state. So just a couple of numbers here on kind of what defines Techlahoma from the standpoint of people and individuals. We are hoping to have a third recognized conference soon, which would be a user experience conference. Due to COVID, obviously we're all having to make changes. And so that one is on hold, but our 200 OK, the link for that is 200ok.us. That conference will be taking place virtually. And so we invite you to look into that conference as you move forward. Again, no matter the level that you're at. And thank you, Kimberly, for putting that into the chat. All right. So I don't know, Diana, do you want to talk a little bit about kind of the opportunities that people have within the tech community? You yourself are an example of somebody who's taught yourself, how to get into development.
Yeah, so I had been working for the US Postal System back up until 2015, when Congress decided they were going to start downsizing the post office, and I was one of the ones who was given the choice to either move to an office 50 miles away and with a $2 an hour pay cut, or leave. So I chose to leave. And between that and my husband going through the dot-com crash, us getting through the recession together, I knew that I wanted to find something that paid well, that there would be a pretty good chance that there'd be a guaranteed job. So the day after I left the post office, I sat down with Code Academy and started teaching myself to program. In 2016, I came across Techlahoma or actually, I think it was Tulsa Web Devs on Free Code Camp, on Facebook. Getting everything confused tonight. And started attending their monthly meetups. They needed volunteers, and even though I felt completely intimidated, like I didn't deserve to be there, I didn't belong there because I was just self-teaching, I still made myself show up. I said yes anytime that they needed volunteers. Got quite a bit of experience working with code through it, met a lot of people, and it's how it landed me the job at OU now. But yeah, there's plenty of opportunity for volunteering, for networking, for getting practice, especially if you want to volunteer with some civic tech and work on some projects. That's a great way to help boost up your portfolio. Getting together with people that you meet here, working on projects together. I really feel like the sky's the limit.
Thanks, Diana. And I think, by having Diana talk, we'll kind of go through these slides as we're speaking. But a lot of the opportunities that are out there can be for a variety of different opportunities. And so if many of you have logged on because you're wondering, okay, because of what's going on with COVID, I'm looking for another opportunity. I've always said I wanted to code, and now I'm at home, so let me try to do that. I have always loved maybe marketing, but I see a lot of data analytics job. And within analytics, you're going to have to know maybe Python. So this is really a great opportunity for anyone to really decide that this is a good time to learn, to figure out how you can add coding into what you're currently doing or go into a new career. If we even look at the top tech jobs listed here, one of the jobs I want to point out that we won't necessarily go too much into, but technical support specialist. They're at number 8. Working in the world of IT using current hardware and software is still something that people are hiring for right now. It's great if you can learn some of these very technical skills with coding, but that might not be a priority for that particular job. So I really do encourage you, as you listen to this presentation and we talk about some of the different resources to connect with people, consider how you can work with the Techlahoma community to learn more within any of these fields. Again, all of these different industries on the right are hiring and looking for help with technical support in the world of e-commerce and websites and taking your business online. You can see where a lot of people need somebody who can be a web developer for them. But one of the things we really recommend is look at a website like Indeed.com. Search different opportunities, maybe use this list to figure out who's hiring, what do these words mean if these are new terms to you, as well as looking at some of the companies in the area and remotely. Go to Indeed, look for jobs that are listed as remote for the location and see what opportunities are out there. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to add to that too that as you're getting involved with this, if you decide that developing is not for you, you still enjoy it, but maybe you enjoy marketing or you enjoy project management or product development, product management, having this skill set will make you better at all those jobs.
Mhm.
So you don't have to be learn all of this and become a developer. There's a huge array of things that you can do with this skill set.
Exactly. So the next few slides, we just kind of included a couple quotes from various community members. I won't read all of these in detail, but you can see an example here of Anna. She wanted to go from making minimum wage to a different opportunity, so got into coding. If we look at the next slide, we have another story of Patrick and how he utilized the online groups. Of course, right now, that's probably the biggest thing, right? In a perfect world, and we'll talk about how we all get together at various times throughout the month in order to help each other. But we are offering online meetings and meetups and peer programming. And then we have HR professionals, as I mentioned, that are really looking to find people who are within this community to hire. There are people who are willing to just mentor. They may not be, as hands-on as you, but if you see that you are wanting to strive to be in a particular role at a company, we have people with Techlahoma who are working for Mozilla Firefox remotely or for Oracle and NetSuite. And so we have a lot of members of the community that are working not only here in Oklahoma, but for companies that go beyond that. So now we'll get into the tips that we have for learning how to code. Um, the next slide, I really think, as we kind of stated with some of the pictures and quotes, hearing people's stories is really important. And so we'll share a link in a little bit of where you can hear some stories of people who have taught themselves how to code on their own. Austin being an example of one of our free code camp Norman community members. In his video, he talks about how for 2 years he tried to do it on his own and just Google and look at different sites and figure it out. And then when he connected with our free code camp groups, he was able to learn from more people, get pointed in the right direction, have people give him really the honest truth as to things that he can work on. And he really added a link in the chat and Twitch. If you're wanting to look at that, and Diana's dogs, we're all working from home now, so we all have the dog and cats in the background. But these are some top tips that Austin had. You can watch his full story in the link on Twitch. But we liked this great kind of step-by-step process of telling people things to do. And, really part of learning to code right now is that you're going to have to get started online. You can't go to a boot camp right now at a local city. You can't necessarily go into a classroom right now. So these are really our top recommendations to get started in coding right now if this is new to you. So the first step being you're going to want to sign up for Slack. So we have our Techlahoma Slack community. You want to look at announcements and free code camp, and both of these are going to show you the different events that are happening online to connect with people. You want to join Meetup, which most of you probably did by RSVPing. And so now, if you go to the link that's listed here, and we'll provide this information within Meetup so that you can click on any of these links. You can look up all the different free CodeCamp groups that are in the area, as well as all the other Techlahoma user groups. You'll want to get started on freecodecamp.org. The reason we like to utilize this website or recommend people use this website is really the way that it's laid out. If you try to Google how to learn how to code, you're probably going to go down a deep rabbit hole of YouTube videos, or you need to learn to code this before you can do that. Free Code Camp really kind of lays it out from an educator's perspective. Quincy, who's actually pictured here, on the picture speaking, he started Free Code Camp out of the Bay Area, and he's from Oklahoma City, so he's been able to get involved with our community. And all you really need is a computer with internet to be able to do all of that. And you'll see that you have what to do on the left, in the middle, a terminal to code in, and then on the right, an actual like output of what you've created. Then the last step is watching the stories and lessons via YouTube. So this techlahoma.org /learn site has been created by our marketing board member, Matt, in order to populate content for where you are in your learning. So I really recommend, if this is new to you, go to the beginners popular content for beginners section so that you can get started there. So, and this is a just a couple screenshots of the different tools that I mentioned, only because we didn't want to have to go back and forth between various areas. But that's why I think going to the meetups is important. We could always find an opportunity for you to do a breakout session with somebody else to walk through these different sites. So we'll be able to help you with that one-on-one at these weekly meetups. So right now, there's at least 3 opportunities, if not 2 opportunities every week for you. Free Code Camp Oklahoma City is usually meeting every Sunday. Norman and Tulsa, we may start doing it every other week. Maybe one week it's Tuesday for Norman, the next week it's Thursday for Tulsa. But there's a lot of opportunities for you to actually connect with people and talk and ask questions. So I just want to check, Diana, do we have any questions on your end? I don't think we have
No, I
any.
haven't received any yet.
Okay, awesome. So then the other thing is just additional learning methods. I'll let Diana kind of talk about some of these partners that we've connected with through the Innovation Hub and Techlahoma and even Oklahoma WIT.
Yeah, so I feel pretty connected to the Techlahoma community, especially in Tulsa, and online learning is kind of one of my passions since a lot of my experience has been virtual. So the most common places that I come across other than Free Code Camp, where people are teaching themselves to learn to code, are Udemy, Codecademy, and LinkedIn Learning. For boot camps, unfortunately, we don't have much, if anything, in Oklahoma City yet, but Tulsa has been getting a lot of attention. We had Coding Dojo that opened up probably about 3 years ago. It's a 3-month, pretty intense. You're there 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. I believe over those 3 months, each month you learn a different full stack for developing. Udacity, I believe that one's just online. Flatiron is online. I've known some people who have gone through both of those that come out with jobs. And then we've also got OK Coders, which is part of the University of Oklahoma's Center for the Creation of Economic Wealth. It is generally it's about 2 months. When I did it, it was 2 months, 2 days a week. I believe they've moved it to just Saturdays. we've had classes in Tulsa, but I think most of the classes right now are in Oklahoma City, and I believe is Matt the one teaching those?
I believe Matt's helping with it.
Okay. So we've got someone who's helping that. This is OK Coders. There have been some people who have gone through it and landed a job afterwards, but I feel it's really more of just an additional class to take to help expand your knowledge. It helped me understand how full stack works, and I found that very beneficial. Um, if boot camps and online don't feel like your thing, um, we just had Holberton School open up here in Tulsa back in January. They should be starting their next cohort, I think, in June, and then there might be another one, I believe, in September. The COVID stuff may have changed that up a little bit, but it lasts overall is 18 months. The first 9 months is you're learning, I believe it's C sharp, either C sharp or C plus, for the first 9 months and just learning the basics of everything. And then they have 7 different specialties that you can focus on after that. And then go another 9 months. And then they're funded by George Kaiser Family Foundation. So if you decide to go that route, they're helping with job placement afterwards. There's also a living stipend of $1,500 a month while you attend. If you stay in Tulsa, you don't have to pay back that stipend. And then the payment on it is, I believe it's 17% if you leave Tulsa. I think it's 13% if you stay in Tulsa. So there's some incentives there to kind of stay in the area. Some of the technical schools around, Moore Norman Tech has a computer programming curriculum degree. There's a couple others around the state, but it's kind of hit and miss. You have to do some research there. OSU has some good programming courses. University of Tulsa is known for people coming out of their program or out of their school knowing how to program. And new to Tulsa, there's now a 4-year degree with TCC, Tulsa Community College, and OU Tulsa. What is it? The Bachelor's of Information and Science Technologies. That's going to be available starting in the fall, and that will be pretty coding heavy. So those are some of the resources we've got available throughout the state.
So Amy asked a great question about like the costs of boot camps. And so one thing that I wanted to point out is the other probably method of why we recommend free code camp to get started is because it's free. As you start to move into some of these other learning methods, you are looking at a particular cost. They vary. We have OK Coders that I believe is a couple of hundred, but then other boot camps you could be looking at like 1,000 plus.
Coding Dojo is 10,000.
10,000.
Yep.
There are some boot camps that are even more that will also say, if you don't get a job within the first, year or 60 or 90 days, they'll give you some of your money back. So you can look into those options too. I think it's really going to be a matter of the structure that you need for your learning. So maybe past experience. Do you feel comfortable in an online environment of learning where it's just you? Or do you kind of thrive in a classroom setting where you can work with other people? But again, I think that's where our Techlahoma community can help you. And we'll show you a couple of examples of how we can assist you with that too. So with these additional resources, a lot of it comes down to these are 3 things that we kind of thought of. It's this aspect of community. There's also online learning resources like podcasts and videos, and then just practicing. And so within our community, again, utilizes Techlahoma Slack and meetup groups. If you're in Slack, if you do #jobs, which I know was mentioned in the Twitch channel, you can look at jobs that are either local or people within our community know of the opportunity to find those opportunities. You can utilize message boards, discussion boards. If this is all completely new to you, Stack Overflow and GitHub are 2 online tools and communities that you'll want to learn how to use. And then also consider looking at company or language based websites. For example, if you're interested in maybe some elements of working in IT as opposed to coding, you might look on like Amazon's website for the cloud for AWS and see if there's certifications that you can study for and take in order to have that extra like seal of approval for those job opportunities working for Amazon, or something like Salesforce and looking for opportunities to study on how to be a Salesforce administrator, to specifically work with that software. So we know there's probably a lot of questions a lot of you have in regards to those differences, and we're happy to answer those during the next part of the webinar. Podcasts and videos, these were some recommendations I saw, not only from Diana, but from members of our community. Code Newbie, covers a lot of really interesting topics. One thing I do want to point out is we mentioned, or one here we have is Front End Happy Hour. You heard Diana talking about, various levels of being a developer. Front end, if this is new to you, a new term, this is like front facing what the user sees on an application. So we're all looking at Meet with via Google, and that's the front end. The back end is all the stuff that we aren't seeing on the other side. And then a full stack developer, somebody who can learn how to do both sides of the development. So just kind of wanted to plug those in case those were new terms for any of you. Another podcast I wanted to point out, Stitch Crew Podcast. That's actually a local organization here in Oklahoma City that works also out of Tulsa and helping startups. And so they bring on a lot of people who have created new technology or new businesses, and they interview them to tell their stories. So that would be interesting if you're wanting to know what new things are happening here in the state. And then practicing is really important. I'll let Diana talk a little bit of some of the civic tech projects that she has worked with or knows about.
Yeah, so at one point there was a Civic Tech group in Oklahoma City, but they disbanded and nothing's really happened yet. But we have two groups, one in Muskogee and one in Tulsa. And Tulsa is actually nationally recognized for the work that they do. It's a part of the national nonprofit Code for America, but they have several projects that they've done. The one that we're most known for is CourtBot, and it started out just as a simple SMS app. We had built a web scraper to scrape the Oklahoma Supreme Court Network website to locate cases. I believe it was just criminal court cases, and then people could using a Twilio, which just manages SMS messages for us. People could sign up for notifications, and they just type in their phone number, and then this web scraper finds their case number and texts the information back to them. It was really very simple, and it's made a pretty big difference in the number of people who actually show up to court. There's been larger revenue received by the city from the people showing up. It's been great for all the parties around. We got recognized by Code for America for that. We've been working with them on taking it national. We've also worked on the Hunger Free Oklahoma, if anybody is familiar with that. It's in heavy use right now, as well as during the summers when schools are closed, to help kids locate free lunches that are available around them. And there's a bunch of other projects that we've been kind of working on, but there's always half a dozen different projects being worked on at any time, and there's front-end work, back-end work, marketing, networking with government officials, all kinds of stuff that's needed on those. So even if you're not comfortable digging in on the code right now, you could still volunteer with one of those groups with more of the administrative side of things. And that's one of the big ways that I started picking up my skill set, was just watching and then digging in during hack sessions when I felt comfortable.
Thanks, Diana. And I think that's the key thing, right? When you feel comfortable. And I think a lot of times as people are learning, it's kind of like learning to play the piano. You learn all the basics and then you're like, oh, now I have to play an actual song. And who do I
Yeah.
play this for? So, obviously the more you play the songs, the more you play in front of people, you start to feel more comfortable. So, um, you know, we are very much a community of people that want to see everyone become successful. Obviously, the more successful developers we have in our community, more job opportunities come this way, or people are aware of them. There's a lot of great resources that we have beyond what we've covered today, and you'll hopefully by just joining the Techlahoma Slack channel, you'll be able to see those. So I know it was mentioned by Corbin that he was looking for more just job opportunities in IT as a whole. You'll get connected to people who will know if there are IT positions that are opening within their jobs. There's times that I've seen people say, well, we need someone who can do robotics. So if robotics is something that's really interesting to you, we have a whole user group that is connected with hardware. If you're interested in even like 3D printing and VR, we have people who are very familiar with that you can connect with. So I really kind of am pushing Techlahoma as your new community to help you in this next phase, because maybe you don't find exactly what you want to do right away with something like Free Code Camp, but I believe the community will open up those opportunities for you. Kimberly mentioned, she's a consultant, so she freelance works. And so she's just been able to create that for herself. And, people are needing individuals to create websites for them, to create a database for them, to reorganize and restructure how they currently collect all the data that they have. And so there's always an opportunity to connect with other people. So. All right. So that's really all we have from like our formal presentation front, because we want to make sure that we're answering any questions. Again, if you have any thoughts or maybe you've always wanted to know about something, I encourage you to ask us. If we don't know the exact answers, I'm sure one of the awesome members of our community, we have 43 people viewing us on Twitch. We have a couple of people here in the Meet with us. So please ask us any questions. And welcome to everyone who's new. We have Q, Corbin, I think Jesus, Giovanni. So welcome to all of you. John, shout out to John, who just said he was new too.
And we have Amy and Meet with us.
Awesome. We have a couple of people who called in too. So if you're not able to see the meetup, maybe you just decided to dial in, we will make this a PDF presentation and put this in the meetup event so that you guys can see everything and click on it later. So awesome. We have a lot of newbies listed here in Twitch. Let's see.
Yay, that's awesome.
Does Techlahoma plan on hosting any hackathons for all skill levels? I don't think we have anything scheduled right now, but I mean, that might be something we talked about at our board member retreat, the idea maybe of like a hackathon at one of our conferences, or we do actually do online hack nights. And let me find out which group does that. I believe that was with Luke, wasn't it?
That's one of my groups.
Awesome. Do you want to tell them about those hack nights?
Yeah, so in Tulsa, the first Tuesday of every month is Tulsa Web Devs Hack Night. Everybody just brings projects that they're working on. It's really a time for just community and fellowship, sitting down, getting some work done. If you have any questions about stuff that you're working on, there's usually 40 people there, and somebody's going to be knowledgeable on what it is that you're working on. So, and then Code for Tulsa will often have Saturday morning hack sessions. And I
Mhm.
know I'm on the committee for National Day of Civic Hacking with Code for America, and we're planning that coming up in September.
Mhm.
So there's a few things. We've had some people who have inquired about big hackathons, but
Yeah.
we need more volunteers to be able to pull that kind of stuff off.
Yeah, right now, the only large scale hackathon here in Oklahoma is actually at the University of Oklahoma. And I believe you have to be a student. You don't have to be an OU student, but you just have to be a student. And they do that with Major League Hacking. So I don't know, this might be the time that we start to look into those opportunities, mostly online. If anything, I do encourage you to look into Major League Hacking. They will do things online. Free Code Camp will do Hacktoberfest in October, which is also online. So that would be really cool. Um, we got a question that we get a lot, which is what is a good language to learn first? I've been told Python is a good one to start. What do you think? So we've had a couple people mention that they love Python. We have a couple plus ones on Python. I think it's ultimately kind of what you're wanting to do. I do think Python, that's actually one of the first languages as an adult, because I learned how to code when I was in college, and of course I didn't keep it up. But Python, I made a Raspberry Pi photo booth, so it was just I wanted to make something fun, something that I would want to make, and not something I felt like I had to make. And I had to utilize Python for that. And so I think because as someone who was new to it, I had like an end task and I had something to start with. It was really cool and pretty easy to get started on. So, um, when is the next free code camp meetup? The next one is actually going to be this Sunday with the Oklahoma City group. And let me get those details for you, which they may have. Oh, actually, Chris and Kimberly already put it in. There's a Saturday event and a Sunday event. I believe the Saturday is a coffee and code type of setup. And then Sunday is lightning talk. So you'll get to hear people talk about some of the projects that they've been working on. Again, if you're new and you're going to any of these meetups, don't feel bad asking questions, telling them that you're new, so that you can kind of get started from the beginning. So, um, this is a good question. Are there any programming languages that are particularly in demand in Oklahoma? Um,
.net.
.NET, yeah, that was actually on my next one. C sharp. Um,
JavaScript.
Yeah, it's kind of those are the common ones I'm seeing. If I look in the jobs channel, which I think would be a great reference in the Slack for Techlahoma, when people post jobs, you can kind of see what people are looking for. I know recently for Free Code Camp Norman, we've had a number of people wanting to learn to use Angular and React for app development. So I think it just depends on the type of job that you're really looking for. So,
And Angular and React are both JavaScript.
mhm. So yeah. The question about it being events hosted online. So currently, all of our meetups are hosted online because of everything going on with COVID. Um, when because we will get back to going to places, right? When we get back to going to places, people will meet at Star Space in Oklahoma City. They'll meet at where do y'all meet in Tulsa? And I'm trying to
36 degrees north.
yeah, 36 degrees north. Norman, we meet at the OU Innovation Hub. It could be a variety of places, but I think some people are actually kind of liking the online format because then you don't have to be in Oklahoma City to go to the Free Code Camp Oklahoma City group. You can just call in. So I think now with having the online for getting started, it'll help people no matter where you're located. Also, we've noticed people that are logging in who aren't in any of our areas. They're in rural Oklahoma, and we love being able to help people out. Um,
Absolutely. And yeah, when we get back to meeting in person, there's an event every single week. So you'll be able to find something to go to.
mhm.
And for a next event, Tulsa Web Devs meets on Monday evening from 7 to 9.
Okay.
Or 7 to 8, 7 to 9, something like that. It'll probably more likely be 7 to 8. We'll have different people do some talks.
Mhm.
If depending upon how many we have, we'll either do breakout sessions or we'll just do, say, an hour of 3 or 4 people talking about whatever project they're working on.
I just love that in our Twitch chat, we have so many people that are posting links to their online meetups. So I just want to say
Yay.
thank you to our Techlahoma members and user group leaders that are in the chat because, I think easily anyone who's new, you could go to all of these. If your calendar allows for it, go to every meetup, get to know people. I think every meetup has a different feel. There's different types of members. You might feel more comfortable talking to one person over another. I mean, we even have a She Codes group that has workshops every quarter, and they specifically focus on women within the industry. And maybe if that's something that's more comforting for you, then we want to be able to allow that. So
We've got one in Tulsa that meets monthly for She Codes.
awesome. Would you mind going back to, let's see, which slide is it really quick? To slide 16. I'm sorry, everyone, that we're going back. I just wanted to point out one of the things to kind of some of the questions that have been asked. If you go on Free Code Camp, you actually can receive certifications as you complete different learnings. And so I think this is a really great thing to point out because if you're trying to figure out what do I need to know, how will people know I have any sort of credential? You can see here on the bottom left a couple of those certifications that you can receive. And Quincy, again, who started Free Code Camp, is very active on Twitter. He loves to share people's stories. He's always retweeting when someone has had a great opportunity after learning how to code via the website. So I really encourage you to check those out. You'll see that because some of the comments about what to learn with JavaScript, HTML, CSS, you will get a starting point of that in Free Code Camp. So.
And there have been people who have worked through the Free Code Camp curriculum and gotten jobs after finishing it. I think what Daniel Ashcroft, who founded Free Code Camp OKC, was one of those.
Awesome. Let's see. We have Don Johnson. The way it's spelled is awesome. And in Twitch, and he's saying that I believe it's a he, they. I'm not sure if it's a he or is saying that they participated in a boot camp already, and so this is new to them for Techlahoma. And so for someone like him who's already gotten started, how is Techlahoma really how can it be kind of added into his life? And I think, again, going back to the original slides that we had, we talked about how we really cover all areas. And so I think you've already, Don Johnson, already been invited to a number of things in the chat. But there's a lot of people who are getting connected at more advanced levels. Honestly, if it weren't for our more advanced community members, a lot of the entry level people wouldn't be where they are right now. And so you'll find out about events happening at local businesses. Just shout out to a couple of our businesses locally that we worked with, PCI, Tailwind, Clever. I'm trying to think of other people. It's not coming to my head. Yes. We had a networking event in Oklahoma City a couple months ago and had a lot of, I think we had about 30 different companies there. So there's a lot of opportunity that even if you're not looking for a job, even if you've already been in the game for a little bit, there's a lot of really great connections. And so we call it a networking event because we don't necessarily want people to feel like they have to come and look for a job. And so there were people hired though on the premises because the company was looking and they met the right people. So we really try to find a way that we're connecting everyone at different levels. And some people in our community have found internships as they're learning through Techlahoma and the community. So If you've just gone through your boot camp and you're looking for a first opportunity, if you haven't necessarily gotten a full-time job, I'm sure somebody would be happy to help. So.
And I started since I was down in Southeast Oklahoma when I first started. I just started my own business. I started just from going to the Oklahoma Women in Tech Meetups and the Techlahoma Meetups. I started meeting people who were coming looking for help, and they needed somebody that could help troubleshoot problems that they were having, but they didn't have enough work or enough budget to allow for a full-time person. So I just started saying yes to all those opportunities and started my own business doing that and I did that until I started at the iHub.
Let's see. Kimberly, great shout out to our YouTube. For all of you who are new and you're watching on Twitch, we have a great content committee that has done a great job of taking these live online events and then putting them on YouTube for future reference. And so you'll also see a variety of talks. We're kind of pointing out a lot of the beginner, just getting started, but we have a lot of this is a project I work on for work. I'm going to do a shout out to Dale Spoonmore right now. Dale just launched an app, and now all of a sudden I'm forgetting the name of it. So if anybody knows that app, I think it's called Seed to Spoon. I'm Googling.
That's what I was going to say too. I think it's Seed to Spoon.
Yes, from Seed to Spoon. It's a gardening app, and it's one of the top apps right now because everyone's trying to learn how to garden. And he does multiple presentations as part of the community. And he's actually then on that Twitch or Stitch Crew podcast talking about the app now that it's launched. So again, great opportunities to reconnect with past speakers, and then message them on Slack and say, hey, I saw this talk. I'd like to talk to you more about it because I'm learning. All right. The stream can't hear you, but since you're coming through my computer, they might be able to. But thanks, Chris. Okay, let me see. I keep trying to go through all the different questions. Can you talk about your own personal learning curve when learning to code? Actually, Chris, I know they can't hear you technically, but they can hear you through my screen. Would you mind coming off of mute and talking a little bit about your experience? I think Chris brings a great different example as to learning, since Chris did go to college to get a computer science degree, but that didn't teach him everything he needed to know for his job. So I don't know if you'd like to talk a little bit about that, Chris. Chris, I can't hear you on the stream, just in case. We may have lost Chris, unless you guys can hear him. But Kimberly did add in a couple links. Kimberly's like on the link game today. Yeah, can't hear him, so it's okay, Chris. I'll just tell you guys a little bit of what I know about Chris, and then he can always type in the chat if I'm lying. But basically, as I mentioned, Chris, went to traditional school for college. I know he started to do some web development and then got an internship. He then got very much involved in the Oklahoma City Free Code Camp group, as well as the Norman community. He started the Norman Free Code Camp group. And so there's a video specifically to his link, but he might be able to say and chat a little bit about some of the things that he learned, some issues that he had with his learning curve, I would say for me personally, though I'm not at any level that everybody else in the chat who's a member is, um, that I think for me, I if I'm learning, I need to do it all the time. So if this is something you're really wanting to do, part of it will be up to your personal structure that you set for yourself in order to continue coding. We have members of the community that come into the Innovation Hub and the Star Space and the 36 Degrees North and focus extra time. Maybe it means they have to get away, which I know is hard right now. So I think a lot of coding is created at a level that most people can generally understand. Again, which is why I know I hate that I'm like always tooting the horn of free code camp, but I think it's a good way to get started because a lot of people come and tell us, well, because I went down that rabbit hole of YouTube and what I should and shouldn't learn, then, I just got frustrated and I stopped. So if it's even telling yourself, I'm going to make it an effort to complete all of free code camp um, and stick to it, that may help you determine how you're going to be able to progress and move forward.
And I want to do a little shout out for the resources. So when I was learning, Free Code Camp, I don't believe
Yeah,
was a
I think
thing.
feel free, again, go to any of the free code camp meetups that we're having and ask people. Just ask different experiences. Everybody's different.
Yeah, but Code Newbie was a huge resource for me. And then also um, just trying to wrap my head around how computer science worked and how computers worked. The PBS Crash Course Computer Science class was one of my absolute favorites. And I know Luke Crouch is a huge fan of that as well. So you'll have to kind of dig through YouTube to find it, but that's a good one. Kristin, you're muted.
Oh, thank you. Any other questions? Thank you guys for those of you who have asked, and again, thank you to our community who's putting in lots of resources for you to check out.
And if you find yourself wanting to beat your head against the wall and cry while you're going through this, that's completely normal.
Again, learning anything new has its own challenges. So I think to go back to the learning curve of different people, maybe think of your experiences in learning anything else and what worked best for you and how does, how is your learning style changing also as we get older? If you've gone to school prior and it's been years, maybe it's a little different for you now. So, if anything, give yourself a break while you're trying to learn. The question was, what was the name of the crash course again?
Crash Course Computer Science.
So it's listed there at the very bottom on this current screen, PBS Crash Course Computer Science.
And if you can't find it, message me. I'm on all the social medias and on Slack. I'm happy to send you the link.
Mhm. All right. Well, feel free to stay online if you have any other questions. We really appreciate you guys logging in. I hope this is a new beginning for many of you. Just know you're not in it alone, even though we might be a little, separated based on COVID. But that was why we wanted to do this, just because we know people are looking for opportunities right now. People are looking to learn. And there's a whole community of people here in Oklahoma and beyond that want to see you be successful. So don't be afraid. Join any of these meetups. Get on Slack, start messaging people. The worst thing you can do is nothing. So, Diana and I are so excited that we got to chat with you guys,
Yeah.
and we're here to help. Do you want to, let's see, I'm going to Google your PBS crash course. Somebody asked.
Oh, okay.
Is it, what should just pop up? It's just a show, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I found it.
Now there's a bunch
Google
of
on the first things that popped up. And yes, in case anybody's wondering, I am in Twitch as Last Unicorn as my tag. Super professional.
oh, great. Yes.
All right. Thank you again to Chris for being our Twitch streaming guru for today. Appreciate it. So we'll have you coming through on the Google Meet. So you should be, I think they might be able to hear you now. Do you know when the next OKCSQL stats meetup is? Typically the third Monday. Don Johnson, I would recommend. Hey everyone, this is me on webcam. Um, let's see. Let me. If you haven't joined Slack already, Don Johnson, will you join the Techlahoma Slack and then find me just under Kristin Garcia? That's KRISTIN GARCIA. I think it's listed down here ish on my screen. Other side, just kidding. And then I'll connect you with the user group leaders for that user group. Yeah, I know some of the groups, I think since we started social distancing, some groups kind of put things on pause until they figured out what was going on. Then we had other people that, have kind of continued on. So if not, they're active online. There's actually their Slack channel is, let me put it in here, it's OKC. SQL and stats. Sorry, those are actually should be dashes instead of underscores, but if you look them up on there, you'll be able to find them. So, awesome. Well, thank you guys. This was fun. All
I
right.
think this is the least painful presentation we've done. Or I mean, at least that I know that I've done. Thank you for talking, Kristin.
If anything, that's the last plug, right? Once you learn, then you talk and present for a meetup, right? That's what we love, is for people to share what they do. All right. Well, we're done, Chris. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.